Well, apparently we have a little controversy on our hands. Should you play the original Link's Awakening before or after the Switch remake? And will the remake be worth $60? Hello everyone, my name is Adam and welcome to Time Lag Gaming. As a Zelda fan, I am super excited for the Link's Awakening remake, especially since I've never played the original, so it's like a brand new game. But then that made me wonder if I should play the original game before the remake comes out. I remember when I had a 3DS many years ago, there were so many times when I almost bought the game on Virtual Console. Anyways, 1 month ago, I left a comment on Switchforce's video. I asked people if I should play the original Link's Awakening before the remake comes out on Switch. I got 42 replies to that comment, and all they answered seemed mixed. So I thought it would be interesting to discuss if you should play the original Link's Awakening now or after the remake comes out. I am also going to talk about the potential $60 price point as well. So before I asked this question, I was leaning towards actually playing it before the remake, but I might have had my mind changed. From all the replies to my question, there were 9 people who said that yes, I should play the original before the remake. Then there were 11 people who said no, I should not play the original before the remake. So as you can obviously see, there were mixed answers. But even within these mixed answers, people who said not to play it before all had different reasonings. One person said no, it will be the same game apart from the graphics. Another said, nah, the remake is much more capable and versatile than the old ones. And Voltage had an interesting point saying, I wouldn't. Unlike A Link Between Worlds, where the plot and mechanics were changed, I think they're probably going for a full one-on-one remake for this. But then there were 2 comments that really stuck out to me. Digital Slicer said, I'd play the original after you play the remake. If the remake gets delayed for some reason, then play the original. You will appreciate the original more if you play it after the remake. This stood out to me because they suggested that I play it after the remake instead. Then Lame Doodler said, play it after. You don't want to blow $40 to beat it in 1 hour because you already know exactly what to do. And that is a really good point. If I were to play the original Link's Awakening now, then when I go to play the remake, everything will be fresh in my mind and I will end up completing the game way faster. But then if I just wait for the remake, then the higher price point of $40 to $60 will be more worth it because it'll be a brand new game to me and I will get more playtime out of it. Also, I think if I were to play the original Link's Awakening after I play the remake, then I'll appreciate it more, just like Digital Slicer said. The older Zelda games can be hard to get into for people who aren't used to that old graphical style, and the pixelated style can also make the game more confusing. This whole situation reminds me of A Link Between Worlds. I remember when I played A Link to the Past, I couldn't get into it because of the old graphical style that I wasn't used to. But then when I played A Link to the Past, after having played A Link Between Worlds, I actually got into the game. I could really appreciate it, and it was cool to see all the similarities and differences. I think this will be the best way to go about it for Link's Awakening as well. This way, I get more of my money's worth. It will be a brand new experience, and I will be able to appreciate the original more after having played the remake. So before I started this discussion, I was leaning towards playing it before, but now these people have convinced me to wait. But if you still want to play the original before the Switch remake, how should you play it? Well, Link's Awakening was released for the Game Boy and for the Game Boy Color as Link's Awakening DX. Link's Awakening DX is also available on the 3DS eShop for $6. The 2 original Game Boy versions can be found easily online for about $15 to $20, but they require a Game Boy. However, they will not work with the Game Boy Micro, DS, and DS Lite because they are older cartridges. That being said, you can get a custom repro version for about $20 that will work on the DS and Game Boy Micro. If you do have a 3DS, you should probably just go with the $6 eShop version. But if you want the more true experience, then go for either Game Boy version. A YouTuber that I follow called the Gaming Goomba actually ordered Link's Awakening to play the very original way before the remake comes out. I thought that was pretty cool. You can get a Game Boy very easily for under $50, usually $30 to $40 depending on which version Game Boy. However, you can also find the original 3DS used for about $50. That's the thing about the price. there has been a lot of discussion on what the price of the game will be, and if it'll be worth $60. Currently, the price placeholder on sites like Amazon and GameStop is $60. However, if you remember, when Captain Toad for Switch was announced, it had a placeholder price of $60 as well. But still, it is very possible that it could be a full $60 title. There are so many factors that can go into this discussion, but at the end of the day, just expect it to be a $60 game. I know it probably shouldn't be, but based on Nintendo's previous decisions, it's best to assume for the worst. All of their previous Zelda game remasters have been full price. $40 for the 3DS Zelda remakes, and $60 for the Wii U Zelda remakes. They also have been charging $60 for Wii U ports on Switch. For Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, they added an easy mode and increased the price by $10. That required little effort at all, but completely remaking an entire Zelda game that was on the Game Boy requires a ton more work. In some ways, it requires more work than remaking an N64 or GameCube game. I mean, just look at the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening. It looks like crap. No texture, no detail, super simplistic graphics, but now Nintendo has to make brand new 3D assets for the entire game with very little to work from. And this remake definitely is taking more effort, development time, and resources than a port of Tropical Freeze or New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Yet people still think it's completely outrageous for it to cost anywhere near $60. But that's the thing, price is completely subjective, and whether or not it's worth it to you is your opinion. Although even if this was a budget $40 eShop game, there still would be people who would get upset. Yeah, of course I would way rather pay $40 for this game than $60, but it's more likely that it will be $60. Also, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring up price is some people's reasoning that the game should not be $60 is because you can buy it for $6 on the 3DS eShop. Except you have to actually own a 3DS. The majority of Switch owners probably do not have a 3DS anymore, so they would have to go buy a used one for $50, then buy the game for $6, and look at that, you're back at about $60. Or if you want to play the original, that's $30 to $50 for a Game Boy and $15 to $20 for the game. Back at $60. For most people, it would cost them about $60 to play the original game in the first place. And that would be playing the old version with ugly graphics and no detail. Obviously, that's including the price of the system, but still, that's the price of entry to play the game. There are many other factors that I could go over to try and convince you that this game would be worth $60, but there's no point because it won't change your mind. We all find worth and value differently for each game. Also, I know there are a lot of people who think the game would not be worth full price no matter what. And to those people, I say suck it up and wait to get it $40 used. That's what I do for the games I don't think are worth full price. I waited 2 weeks and got New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe used for $39. I waited 1 week for Tropical Freeze and got it for $42. I waited a month for Mario Tennis Aces and got it for $40. People can complain all they want, but Nintendo is going to do whatever they want to do. I'm not saying you should stop complaining. If you want to complain about the price, please do. It helps Nintendo hear our voices. But don't be rude to the people who are willing to cough up $60. We each value things differently. In conclusion, I am going to wait to play the original Link's Awakening until after I play the remake. I think this way I will personally get more out of the remake. It'll make the high price tag more worth it to me, and I will be able to better enjoy the original game after having played the remake because everything will feel familiar, but it'll be cool to see the graphical and gameplay differences. For me, I actually just bought a 3DS, so it would only be a $6 investment to play the original. But doing so would make the $60 investment of the remake less worth it since I would finish the game super quickly. So to me, it makes more sense to get more playtime from the expensive remake. Then afterwards, I can speed through the original and I won't feel like I wasted my money since it's so cheap. Also, those old Zelda games can be super confusing because of their old graphical style, so playing it after the remake will make it much more enjoyable. I really hope that this has helped you if you're debating on if you should play the original first. And I wanted to say thank you to all of those that replied on that comment because you really helped me in my decision. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever played the original Link's Awakening? If not, would you rather play the original before or after you play the remake? What do you think of the possibility of it being a full price title? Let me know your take in the comments down below. Thanks again for watching.